Hello guys, welcome to my first chess series. Today we'll be starting Chess Masterbot versus Stockfish. This is a beautiful game in Stockfish versus Nora. Now, what's Nora's playstyle? Nora's playstyle revolves around the queen. The queen is her most important piece and she likes to move around in the opening, middle game, and end game, which can sometimes make her moves very inaccurate. So let's start the game with e4, e5, knight f3, bishop c5. The point is that bishop c5 just hangs a pawn and is really good, but Stockfish goes for c3 and queen f6, d4, e takes d4, c takes d4, bishop e4 check, and d2. Not the best move, but still very great. Queen e7 isn't the best move also. It's very weird and very out of place for a 2200, but still not the worst of the worst. Takes, knight to c3, knight to c6. Not the best move because I can just play d5 and kick the knight out of here. Now knight to e7, bishop to d3, queen takes b2. Now, it's a bad move because it really just, it's not the best move because now after knight to b5, it really just ruins the entirety of black's advantage. Now, black could defend by playing queen e4, and Stockfish chooses to lose castling right and queen to a5. Now, after this, Stockfish decides to play queen to c1, trying to go for the fork, but Nora decides to play c6, and Stockfish plays knight to d6 check, king f8, and knight to e5. And now, after knight h6, not the best move because it doesn't really help, because the first brilliant move of the game, knight e takes f7, brilliant move number one, amazing. It sacrifices the knight, and now Nora plays the third top move in the engine, queen to c7, and the second best move, e5. Oh my god, e5. And now, knight ef5. They might be asking, why aren't you taking? Why are you leaving? Because let's say if I take, I'd play f4, and then you forcefully have to play knight to f5, sacrificing the knight. And then, you have to sacrifice your queen, or move your king to e7. Sacrificing queen is better, but the most human move is king e7. This is amazing because but the thing is, after check, you're really just losing after this move, because now I have queen takes g7 and white's easily winning. But instead, black goes for the early knight to f5. Now, knight takes h6, trying to keep the pressure up, which is why they didn't take the rook. Now, knight takes h6 and queen f4 check. Now, the best move in this situation is easily, and I mean easily, king e7, which is what happened in the game. Now after knight b5, brilliant move. How is it a brilliant move, you might be asking? It's if you take, you hang this great move. This is a move of everyone's dreams. And after you take the queen, you have a pawn that's one step to promotion, and a pawn that can be freely taken. And you have the bishop and the queen to work with. But that happened in the game? What actually happened in the game is instead of taking the knight and hanging the queen, queen a5. Not the worst move. It's an excellent move, but not the best. But the thing is, you still play d6 check. Now after king to a8, now after king to e8, pawn to e6. Not the best move from baby Stockfish, but not the worst too. Now after c takes b5, g5, trying to make a mate for it, and trying to attack the g7 pawn, trying to win it also, trying to win the rook. After the biggest blunder you've seen, now to f5. You lose due to this beautiful sequence. Bishop takes f5. Queen d8, best move. g6, brilliancy! Brilliant g6. You'll be asking why? Why g6 is the best move? Bishop g6 check the best move. Because if you take, you have queen g6 check, king to g8, checkmate. And that happened in the game. But the other route that could have happened if you didn't take is you automatically play king f8 and I take a queen and it's mate. So Stockfish wins with a 9+ material difference and an amazing 4 brilliant moves. But what could have happened? What could have happened if she didn't play knight f5? Instead, rewinding and playing knight to g8. The best move. Then Stockfish would have played queen takes g7, and then d takes e6 would have been the best move. Queen takes h8, king f7, and then queen takes h7, the best move. And the king side is totally destroyed. The rook and the bishop have not been developed yet. The queen's in the other side of the board while the king is getting bullied on the f-file, while the queen is taking out dinner with the pawn. Man, this is something. And the most weirdest thing about it too is that you only have 2 moves. King f8, f6, and king e8. With king to f6, you're lost because after pawn f4, the weirdest move you've seen. Sacrificing the queen, taking the rook or king, both work, pushing any pawn or any move, checkmate. But maybe asking yourself then, what about the other move? What about the other move? After all this happens, instead of king f7, what if king to d7? This is the only second move that saves the game after queen takes g8. You are fully winning. Now, there isn't anything you could do now. You're lost, and you should resign. But, wow, it's a beautiful game. But what if, instead of playing knight to g8, instead they play the other move, queen to d8. If you play that move, you would have seen that there is queen h5 check, king f8, e7 check, queen takes, sacrificing the queen to save the game. Not really, it's still lost, and it is made at 7, but do not get mated in 1. King takes e7, rook e1 check, king d8, queen g5 check, and now king c7, rook c1 check, king d6, and The king is being lured out into the open right now. Queen to c5 check. King e6. Rook e1 check. King f7. And after queen e7 check. King to g8. Queen to e8 wins the game. This is an onslaught. Nothing, and I mean nothing I've ever seen comes like this. Let's check some other variations that would have happened. Many other variations that could have happened in the game. Like at the first brilliant move. Or not really. Before the brilliant move by 2 moves. King f8. What if instead we played king to e8? If we play king to e8, you would easily just hang a fork between the king and the rook. After king to e8, you'd easily win the rook and win the game. Let's now check other moves that could have happened. There's this move. After knight takes f7, there's lots of stuff that would have happened there. But you might be asking yourself, why? Why is fe5 so amazing, so hard to find, and so beautiful? And what's the point of it too? The point is after knight takes f7, f4, you're forced to either take or play, right? But there are some other variations too. The other variation is that after queen takes d6, e takes d6, you have to take like this. You have to continue like this, down 2 points of material, plus 5 for white. Now be asking yourself, why is white winning here? I want you to ask yourself why white is winning here. White is winning here because of some important stuff. First, even though black has a knight in the center that cannot be taken except by the bishop, the king is very unsafe and cannot castle. Most of the pieces here have never even developed, and you really can't get the rook out unless you take the bishop out, which takes 2 moves, 2 tempos. And this is why white's winning here. If, let's say, the rook would have been out like here, white out, and the bishop would have been out here, white would be less winning, but still would be winning by, let's say, plus 3. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day. I hope if you like this video, please subscribe, and goodbye.